Once upon a time, there lived a king and queen whose fondest desire was to have a child.
When you meet Charley Hooper, you can't help but wonder what might have been.
The old fairy oh, it's not nice.
This beautiful girl with silky hair and deep brown eyes is facing a lifetime of pain and suffering.
Oh, what's that noise? Charley doesn't feel like my daughter. She's working, worrying a lot of the time. Come on, then. I'm a lot more like Charley's nurse.
Charley's mum and dad are living a 24/7 nightmare. Life was literally suffocated from their little girl when two midwives botched her resuscitation at birth.
People say to me now, it's really surprising they didn't pick up something at the scan. I can't get them to understand there was nothing at the scan. This was done to her, literally the minute she was born.
She's my little princessy. I love her to bits. I see other little kids her age constantly looking at me and wishing it was Charley running around.
They took everything. They took everything from us. They took her smile. They even took her smile.
To understand Jen and Mark's anger, you have to know how hard they fought for justice and appreciate the magic that brought Charley into their lives.
We had been told for 8 years that we couldn't have any kids. My dad died about 5 years ago and I was very close to him. And I said to him there, I don't know that I believe in all this life after death stuff and all that, but if you happen to be out there anywhere and see you a fit to sending me a baby girl, I'll call her Charley after you.
On Christmas Day 2004, Jen discovered she was pregnant. The baby was due on Father's Day.
And you're a little girl just like I asked my dad for.
Over the course of 9 months, this first-time mum kept a regular diary cam.
And here's your nursery. And I've got a pushchair, and I've got lots and lots of nappies.
It was a dream pregnancy. There was no sign of any trouble.
About 40 minutes ago, my waters broke and gave me a bit of a fright, really. And so I'm just saying this so that you know, little Charley girl, that you're on your way.
That was the last diary cam entry for little Charley.
It was all supposed to be so magic, and then it went so horribly wrong.
On the 7th of September 2005, Jen went into labour and was admitted to the Rhoda Reed maternity unit at Morrinsville. At 10:43 a.m, Jen's midwife discovered an irregular heartbeat and called for urgent assistance and an ambulance. At 11 a.m, the ambulance arrived and was sent away. The midwives decided to go it alone because Jen was too close to giving birth. 4 minutes later, Charley was born, floppy and not breathing.
I believe the midwives probably panicked. I don't know what other reason there could be for it. And they forgot to clear her throat. Essentially, they forgot to clear her throat.
For 21 minutes, the midwives tried to get Charley to breathe by using oxygen and chest compressions.
In their panic, they didn't realise the basic resuscitation wasn't working. They didn't realise why. They didn't put it together.
At 11:25, the decision was made to intubate, feed a hose down the baby's airway. When that didn't work, the midwives finally called Waikato Hospital's neonatal intensive care unit for help.
They tried for half an hour before they even called for help, and help was half an hour away because we were stuck in Morrinsville. They hadn't shifted us.
At 11:35, a second attempt was made to intubate Charley. It seemed to work, but when the experts arrived nearly an hour after Charley was born, they discovered the tube wasn't in her lungs. It had been fed into her stomach. For the first hour of her life, Charley had received precious little oxygen.
Birth is a natural process. That's their line. They all love to chuck that one out. Birth is a natural process. But so's death.
As Charley was rushed to Waikato Hospital, the midwives realised that Jen, white and drifting in and out of consciousness, was slowly bleeding out. She'd suffered a major hemorrhage and had to be rushed to hospital by ambulance to undergo an emergency blood transfusion. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
Of course I'm angry. I'm really angry.
Jen made a full recovery, but Charley's life was all but lost. Doctors have labelled her one of New Zealand's most disabled children.
And these are the noises she's been making after a seizure like that.
Charley experiences hundreds of seizures every day and every night.
I can't imagine what that family is going through. I think every day, daily living would take a lot of courage in that circumstance.
Dr. Linda Exton believes the system is letting women down and costing babies their lives.
It just seems like there's a network of tragedies.
How many kids like Charley are out there?
I've come across the cases of hundreds of families.
Hundreds?
Hundreds. The way I'd look at it would be an unmonitored scandal.
Jen is convinced Charley is a victim of that scandal. Neither parent can work. They're now 24-hour caregivers.
Come here, Bubs.
Waiting outside operating theatres has become a way of life for Jen and Mark.
How often have you done this? Played the waiting game?
This is 9th in 18 months.
9.
Now, what we're going to do,
It's a little bit horrible when she first goes to sleep. That's pretty yucky, but you can't do this in nine times in 18 months without just going, okay, take her in.
And what's the future hold?
More of the same.
More of the same?
Yeah.
More than anything now, Jen and Mark want justice. But finding what went wrong and who, if anyone, is to blame hasn't been easy.
How hard was it for you to find the truth?
They ran. The midwives really ran.
What do you mean they ran?
I'd hired an advocate to get the birth notes because the midwife, basically the main midwife, the LMC, a lead maternity carer, Sue Van Dam, she just ignored my requests. Completely ignored me.
This is Sue Van Dam. We also tried to get the Waikato midwife to talk to us. But Sue Van Dam was reluctant to shed any light on this case.
We're currently doing an investigation into Jen Hooper's case.
No comment on that, thank you.
No comment.
No comment.
Why is that?
I can't believe anybody can do anything like this to any newborn baby and walk away saying sorry, but by the way, it wasn't my fault. How does that work?
In the hope of preventing another tragedy, Jen filed a complaint with the Health and Disability Commissioner. She accused the 3 midwives involved in her case of failing to monitor her properly, failing to monitor the unborn baby properly, failing to resuscitate Charley properly, and covering up their mistakes by doctoring their notes.
I don't believe that they woke up that morning and said, right, I'm going to screw this baby over. Of course I don't believe that. But it also wasn't an accident. It's not like they dropped her, oops. You know, they were negligent. They panicked. For whatever reason, they didn't do a good job of a basic resuscitation.
The Health and Disability Commissioner found no evidence of no doctoring, but ruled that the midwives had failed to keep adequate records, failed to coordinate backup, and breached the code in several respects. They were ordered to review their practices, undertake further training, and send a letter of apology. Sue Van Dam's apology was briefer than expected.
I think that it's a cold, nasty, arrogant, forced 2-line apology.
In brief, the letter simply said,
I apologise for these breaches, and I understand how traumatic and stressful this has been for yourselves. However, the care that I gave that day was to the best of my medical ability, and no one could possibly have predicted the outcome that occurred. Yours sincerely. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl.
Can she really understand how traumatic and stressful it's been?
How can she possibly? How can you? She can't come close to what it does to your head. How do you do that? I can barely do that.
The letter was supposed to heal the pain and help the family move on.
Are you happy with the Health and Disability Commissioner's handling of this case?
I'd love to carry Charley up in my arms, not in her wheelchair, up in my arms up to his office and lay her on his desk while we talk. Tell me again how this apology is enough for this. Tell me again.
The Health and Disability Commissioner found Sue Van Dam and her co-workers in breach of the code, but up to now they've been protected from public scrutiny. Their names, and even the town and province they work in, has never been disclosed.
You realise I am trying to get both sides of the story. I am contacting you to get your side of it.
You'll have to go through my professional body, which is the New Zealand College of Midwives.
Right.
Okay?
The College of Midwives sent us a statement expressing their deepest sympathy. It states that all the midwives involved in this case are active and responsible, have extensively reviewed the practice to ensure they can make changes if required, and are extremely distressed at the outcome.
People say to me, gosh, you know, that's just so unlucky that that happened to you, that you drew the short straw, and Charley's like this, you know. If I'm unlucky, then it goes to figure then that all the others out there are just lucky. It shouldn't be down to luck. It should be down to skill and to knowledge and experience. Here it comes. Here's some jelly yogurt.
So is the system failing our mothers? Cases like Charley's have got some doctors in the baby business calling for a national inquiry.
I think it should have been done years ago.
If the status quo continues, will we see more tragedies like Charley?
I think it's perfectly possible.
That means more sad families.
There are already.
Sitting up with your head forward like that, good girl.
It is a tragic fact. This little girl will never have any kind of normal life.
It doesn't matter what situation we're in, it's almost like we win, she's the worst all the time. That's pretty hard, you know.
Never get excited on Christmas morning. Never play with her baby brother, Zach. Full of life, he is the heart melter.
Here's the duck.
But Charley will forever be the heartbreaker.
Just when you get smiles from her.
A clock struck the hour, 100 years after she pricked her finger.
There's no moving on. There's no moving on. I'll be angry for the rest of my life.
The princess opened her eyes. Her enchantment was broken.